everyone, welcome back to the channel. You know, with Skeleton Crew on the horizon, there's a lot of buzz about this show, and there's already a growing concern within the Star Wars community. Because as many of you know, this series is going to center around 4 young actors, and people are already voicing a little bit of a worry. They're saying things like, we've got to make sure that these kids don't get treated like Jake Lloyd did during the Phantom Menace. And with recent shows like The Acolyte, we've seen racism, we've seen sexism, we've seen just plain bigotry rear their ugly heads in part of the fandom. So today, I want to talk a little bit about something important. What's considered an attack on these actors, and what's just fair criticism? So let's break it down. Well, let's start with some of the history. You know, toxicity in Star Wars fandom is not a new thing. Jake Lloyd, who played young Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace, was relentlessly attacked. It didn't even stop there. Ahmed, who portrayed Jar Binks, faced so much harassment that it seriously impacted his mental health. And fast forward to today, and we've seen actors in The Last Jedi, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, The Acolyte, all of them deal with the same kind of hate. And a lot of it, far too much of it, is rooted in racism and sexism and just plain ignorance. And what's made this worse is social media. Platforms like YouTube, Twitter, and even Reddit have made it really easy for people to band together and spread this kind of hate and ugliness. And it's been persistent. Now, with Skeleton Crew bringing these young actors, the community is shouting loud and clear, we cannot let these kids go through this same kind of hate and bigotry. And they're 100% right. These kids should not have to deal with it at all. They're just actors. They're kids stepping into these roles. They got to be excited to be part of something massive like Star Wars. And it's not just about protecting their careers. It's about protecting their mental health and well-being. So let's be really clear. What do we mean when we say the word attack? Harassment. Well, this is when people go out of their way to insult, threaten, or target an actor. Racial slurs, gender-based insults, threats of violence. This is harassment and has no place in this fandom or any fandom, period. Bigotry and prejudice. Well, when people start criticizing an actor based on their race, based on their gender, based on their ethnicity, none of that is criticism. It's hatred, and it crosses the line every single time. The impact of this kind of behavior is real. We've seen how it affected Jake Lloyd, who left the industry partially because of that backlash. We saw Ahmed, who almost didn't recover from the abuse that he received. These attacks hurt people, and they don't just go away. So let's talk about what fair criticism looks like, because it is really totally okay to not love everything about the show. And here's where the line should be drawn. Let's talk about performance and characterization. Critiquing how a child actor performs is fair. Maybe you didn't like a delivery, or you felt the character wasn't fully developed. That is totally fine. And we could talk about the performance without attacking the person at all. Story and plot. Disliking the direction the story goes or how the characters are written is totally fair game. Maybe you didn't think the story fit well in the larger Star Wars universe. Maybe you didn't find the plot so engaging, and that is all totally valid. Fair criticism should always be constructive. If you think something could be better, explain why, but don't get personal about it. There's a way to give feedback that's thoughtful, intelligent, and respectful. At the end of the day, as the Star Wars community, we have the power to shape the way our conversations go. We can call out toxic behavior. I will continue to do that whenever I see it, and we need to set the standard for how to engage in meaningful discussion about the content that we love. Critique the show. Debate the storylines, but leave personal attacks out of it. It's not that hard to tell the difference between a conversation about the show and targeted hate. So, as we look forward to the Skeleton Crew, let's make sure we're part of the solution. Let's protect these young actors from the harassment we've seen in the past, and let's focus on building the fandom that engages in healthy, respectful dialogue. We all love Star Wars. That's why we're here. So let's make sure that the next generation of fans and actors don't have to deal with the worst parts of the fandom's history.